A lot of people are very insulted. A lot of people are very insulted at the moment. I'm sure the next time we go see Elements, he's going to put you in a headlock for that one. I don't know.
Or offer me a drink, one of the two.
Or both.
Or both.
Or both. There we go. Champ Select is going down. Gamehoppers, first ban, first pick on blue side. Shen and Corky being banned out immediately.
Yeah, let me drop that for a second.
Yeah,
so it's...
cool. Have some code.
Yeah. I'm definitely excited to see how this will work out. I'm really curious what kind of teams they'll be running, because I honestly haven't been able to watch a lot of their matches recently. So this is a nice, fun little experience. XPK, he does go with usually extremely aggressive mid laners. He used to play a lot of Brand, but not as much anymore. So champions like Orianna, I don't know, we'll have to see.
Yep, Corky and Ari are, it's just stuff Fnatic really doesn't want to deal with. Not a whole bunch of, so sometimes you see teams go with the preferred bans, with champs they just don't want to have to deal with. Sometimes you go for the top tier bans. Champs are just really popular at the moment. Things like Malphite, Karthus is one of them, especially in the EU scene. So Maokai there, looking for the target. So I think they just want to make sure that Gamehoppers is not mobile, that they don't have AoE protection. So I think just from the Maokai ban on its own, Fnatic may be going for some kind of AoE comp here.
Yeah, no, we'll have to see. I mean, that would definitely be strong. There's a lot of strong AoE champions that are still available. I think they'll probably pick their bottom lane, though. I don't know what kind of supports Phelox likes playing, switching over from Melisande, but we'll see. Everyone's been kind of playing Nunu recently. He's just incredibly popular. Yeah, did you get a chance to see the clg.na versus clg.eu game?
I did
OGN?
not, unfortunately. I saw the I read up the recap, but it's good. It's good to see them. Well, I don't want to be too spoiled here, but I'm guessing there was a
Nunu support.
There was a Nunu
Hotshot
support.
was playing Nunu support.
Hotshot was playing it.
Yeah. It was funny. Well, I was telling Nick, I haven't watched the whole game yet. I'm in the middle of it, to catch up and watch it. It's a really interesting game. But Chowster, he always used to play support, or he always used to swap in for jungle for CLG, because they were always like, oh, Chowster plays Lee Sin. He's so good at Lee Sin, and no one knows how to play him. And it was always kind of weird, because he was just okay. But yeah, so he went into the jungle, played Lee Sin, because I'm assuming that Hotshot wasn't comfortable with it, and they were comfortable with swapping up. So they had interesting roles for that match. It was kind of cool.
Neat. So you do have the Soraka first pick for Gamehoppers. That's pretty clear. They just want bot lane to sustain. They just want to get them farmed. You can see if you can't get a nice AD to pair it up with that. Ezreal been really popular lately with that, so we'll see what they go. But first two picks for Fnatic, you have the Urgot and you have the Malphite. Very, very top tier at the moment. There goes the Ezreal here for Gamehoppers with the Vlad.
Yeah, they're incredibly tanky, and as a result, that Vlad is a really nice pick, because Vlad can safely go in the top lane. They really probably want to run a double AP, so against that kind of a tanky team that Fnatic has, you usually want to run a double AP. There's a couple of champions like Morgana available mid that would work very well with that. They could run a Kennen Vlad. We'll see how they kind of work that out. And then Ezreal is very survivable, so Ezreal's definitely a pick that you want to make against both Urgot and Malphite to keep out of their kill zone. When they try and come in after you, you can just get out of there. But continuing with that tanky theme, they're going to go ahead and go for Ryze, and then Sona gives them initiation potential. So a big issue with having a short range team is whether or not you can get the initiation that you like. Ryze doesn't provide you any initiation. Malphite does, but having that little speed boost, that built-in Shurelya's from Sona, it's a really nice thing to couple with that. So you don't have an issue where you just can't engage the enemy and they're able to kite you permanently.
A lot of people underestimate that movement speed from Sona. It is definitely a huge boon to any team that has it. And a lot of, I personally just put the one level into it. And it's kind of like, it's no big of a deal, which I just should not be doing actually these days. Because it's that speed buff can be huge things that can get you out of the team fight in a pinch. You get that little tick of an engage. It's just those few extra inches you need to go ahead and get that ult, to get that wall, to get something. And Nivea being picked up as well here for Fnatic. And it's just a matter of what the other two remaining champs for Gamehoppers is going to be. You have Vlad, he can go top or he can go mid. It's just a matter of that. And there's still a jungler to be decided here as well.
Yeah, and because of that Anivia pick, they could decide to go with the Morgana and force a hard engage. It just might be kind of difficult. The shield would definitely be nice, but they probably just don't want to go with the Morgana cannon. So we'll see how they go. Gragas definitely works out. Gragas can split the enemy team. It gives them that double AP that they want. We'll see. There's a lot of options. I think it's kind of interesting running the Anivia, though, because Anivia is just such a strong all-around champion. She works with almost any comp, but usually with Anivia, your idea is you have all this CC to control the front line, and you want some high damage dealers behind you. So you want champions behind you that can just easily win fights if they're safe, and Anivia provides that protection. So that's not what's happening here. Urgot, clearly isn't someone that you're like, oh, let's keep Urgot safe, and he's going to single-handedly win us the game. But they will have lots of single target bursts, and then if they run Yorick, that would be kind of interesting as well, because they will still be extremely tanky, but they will have that single target burst potential and kiting potential. So the Sona and Yorick combo is always a pretty common combo to have, both that forward momentum and backwards momentum.
Not to mention, too, with going up against a Vladimir in top lane, York can do quite a bit. That ranged harass, more like got to be trading away with the Vlad, going to keep him at bay, just try and outmuscle him in lane, try and reduce the farm. But also York pick also gives the option to Fnatic if they ever want to do a lane switch situation. Doubt is going to happen here, though, because you're going up against an Ezreal Sirach. You're going to be relatively safe there in the bot lane if you have your ranges right, if you play it safe, if you play defensively. So, and that too, if you go bot lane with Urgot against this kind of comp, you're just going to be sitting back and farming, which is something you don't really want an Urgot to do, but it's kind of established already.
Yeah, and that would be fine for them, but there is the possibility that they send Yorick bottom.
Yes.
So, Ezreal and Soraka, it's such a passive lane. It's a very safe lane. You can get some auto attack harass. Ezreal, he can just constantly spam out abilities. But generally speaking, you sit behind the minion wave, no big deal. Ezreal just can't touch you, so it's a very passive lane. Yorick can farm against passive lanes very easily in the 1v2 situation, and then they can try and shut down Vladimir top, which can take Gamehoppers out of their game plan. And I'm not sure whether or not Malphite was originally intended to be jungle or top lane. Vladimir does very well against Malphite, running a double AP, does very well against Malphite, with that ranged harass and just burst and whatnot. So sending him in the jungle definitely works. He can be extremely aggressive once he hits 6. The combo of Urgot into the Malphite ultimate is just like so painful.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll have to see if that works out. But it would be really interesting to see whether or not they swap their bot and top lane.
Well, I have to see, but Anivia in the mid going up against Gragas. How does that matchup actually look?
Anivia has the slight advantage, but it's generally a farm lane because Gragas turns everything into a farm lane. He's perfectly fine with just sitting back, tossing out barrels, and so he's going to be fine there. The melee versus the ranged, early on when he can't, quite kill the minions, he can't quite just throw out barrels to farm, he's going to fall behind, and Anivia is going to be able to get some nice auto attack harass, and then every time that Gragas goes in for a last hit, you're mid-animation, and that's when you want to throw off the Flash Frost as Anivia. You try and catch people when they're mid-animation, or, distracted in some way. Last hitting's the perfect example, so Anivia could, try and get some burst and try and wear Gragas down in the early levels. So Anivia has the early advantage. After a while, though, it'll just turn into a farm lane. Both of them, Gragas actually has a slight advantage as the game progresses because he can throw Anivia into the tower a little bit more easily than Anivia can clear. Anivia can clear with blue buff fine. However, if they take Anivia's blue buff and she constantly has to spam her ultimate in order to clear these minion waves that Gragas is throwing into her tower, she's going to be very low on mana, and as a result, their mid-game teamfights could suffer because of it, because she's not going to be completely prepared. So we'll see whether or not they can force out that blue buff. It would be kind of difficult. Urgot is, strong enough to control that, and Anivia as well, that they should be okay.
Not to mention, Anivia does have the egg in mid.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of AP mids, they can connect with enough damage to get Anivia egged, but they can't really finish the job because sometimes and very often you'll see the Anivia actually get to safety behind a tower while still egged. But, Gragas, you do have the ult. Once he hits 6, it's a lot of displacement in the right place. So that may actually negate the egg even.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a possibility. Yorick is actually running magic resist. I just thought I'd check real quick. So he's probably going to be going top actually versus Vladimir. So I was kind of wondering if he was running armor, then it would probably be indicative of him heading into that bottom lane. Yeah, so Gragas, he has plenty of burst to pull Anivia back, and I think he does have enough, with the attack damage. It's funny that Gragas, you look at his champion profile, and you can't look at champions. How do I look at Gragas? You look at his champion. There we go.
Hey.
You look at his champion profile, and they have him listed as high attack power because his W, it does give him a lot of attack power, and so body slam in, you have that attack damage to follow up. Yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting. I think, Nautilus, his early jungle aggression, he easily outganks Malphite, so they have a serious advantage there. That's definitely something that Gamehoppers is going to want to try and press over Fnatic. But we'll have to see. Once Malphite hits 6, the gank should be pretty devastating.
Yeah, that's usually what Malphite and a lot of other junglers actually they wait till 6. Champs like Warwick, champs like Skarner, they have that huge advantage once they hit 6. But yeah, it's the 6. The ultimate on Nautilus is also something not to laugh at really at all. Mm-hmm. So for counter ganks, if Malphite does decide to get in, Nautilus is there for an equally as effective counter, if not better, since it is targeted.
Yeah, no, that's the target is nice. The delay on it, it allows champions to get out. A lot of times they can just kind of clear some distance and be okay. But it is kind of interesting that even though Nautilus does have that early ganking potential, like you said, a lot of junglers just sit around to 6 anyway, and a lot of times, there's just not a lot of good ganking opportunities in the early levels. Mm-hmm. So you usually just farm and want to keep yourself up. The big thing is, as a jungler, if you gank at level 2 and you're unsuccessful, now all of a sudden you're a level behind the other jungler. Then if you try a gank at level 3, you're not successful again. Now maybe you're 2 levels behind, and for those dragon control fights and stuff like that, you might find yourself behind. You might not have your ultimate fast enough. Both of them, both Malphite and Nautilus, they're fairly decent speed junglers. They're not, the fastest. They're both kind of slow, but they have similar AoE clearing, so they have similar speed. It's not. We probably won't see a lot of counter jungling from either of them. Mm-hmm. I think Malphite has a little bit faster jungling speed, so he could probably, if there's opportunities, counter jungle Nautilus a little bit more, since Nautilus will be spending more time ganking, and Malphite will spend more time in the jungle. But we'll have to see how that'll work because we're in the game. So. Yep. Things are happening.
Game things are happening. I think Malphite does have a little bit of at the very least, he has a better start than Nautilus. He's got a little bit extra speed on him. But you do have both these junglers. They really they rely on getting that. They want that blue buff. They want that thing early. Red buff is not the most ideal thing first for either one of these junglers, but they're both looking to go ahead and secure themselves. Fnatic getting into the tri-brush. Will they beat Ezreal getting in there? This could be really bad right here for Rallies. Walks right into the tri-brush. First easy blood going Soaz.
Yeah, really nice play from Fnatic there. And what made that possible was they were just, they beelined right for this tri-brush. Yep. They were extremely aggressive getting out of the base. If you saw at the beginning of the game, when we first loaded, everyone was kind of just hanging out in the fountain for a little bit for Gamehoppers. They were just sitting there. And because they weren't able to get out fast enough, Ezreal was like, okay, let me come check this bush. And just barely they were able to beat him there. That's definitely huge. Yorick was able to pick it up as well, which is definitely a nice thing for them. Mm-hmm. Yorick beats Vladimir early in the game, but as the game progresses, Vladimir should be pretty safe. Yorick has that spam ability where you can try and get that harass in there even in regen, but Vladimir should be fine early on. However, getting that early damage bonus, we'll see what he gets when he goes back. He could, actually going for that mana spam ability, so Meki Pendant, that'll be nice. So fast tier, he can constantly spam on Vladimir and try and take early advantages. At the very least, Yorick's going to be safe for a while.
Yep. So, and everyone at home watching, that is why you buy as quick as possible, and that is why you get to your position as quick as possible, because if you're a little bit slow, you could fall behind, and you could also give it the first one like that. But there you go, Nautilus right there with the quick root. The damage is going to be too much post-flash. Hawkdawn going to be grabbing the credit for that one. So now it's going to be, now you got the advantage in mid for Gamehoppers, advantage top lane for Fnatic. So now we got a little interesting setup here going on.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. A lot of times it is pretty common to go after this race, particularly against a jungler like Nautilus, that you expect to start at blue. Nautilus, he can work without blue, but he will get kind of low. You see he's already extremely low. Yep. But, having that quick gank on Urgot, Vladimir sitting there taking the point at the race there, they're able to, pressure that. We'll see, what happens, but, we'll be able to, just check out how this game will progress from there.
There we go. Fix the scoreboard. We got it. We're good. So, it was right.
It was right the first time. It just didn't update.
Yeah, it just didn't update. Okay.
There we go.
There we go. Now we got it. Fnatic is right there. He's there on the right side. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, so I mean, it should be pretty interesting. Yorick, he has the nice advantage there, but Gragas in the mid lane, again, Anivia really won't be that pressured from Gragas, even with that early goal lead, so it's not like they really set themselves that far behind, but it does always stink giving up that kind of a lead. They still have a little bit of an advantage from that first blood and, a slight CS advantage early on in the lane.
So now you got Ezreal and Soraka, and you do have the Infuse. It's going to be a lot of mana. It's going to be a lot of harassment. It's just a matter of can Fnatic go ahead and dissuade that push. So, you got Cyanide up there in the top lane. He's looking to get sneaky. He's getting his position here in the far brush, has double buff, waiting for his shard. If El Mupo does end up pushing out, that could be a very, very mean gank. But here's the thing, though, Vlad can be very comfortable actually farming under tower. But here comes Nautilus as well, so there you go. Malphite is set up for the counter gank. El Mupo getting ignited, does force the pull, but so has taken a lot of damage. Flash away, but now you get the Nautilus in a 1v2 situation. Will he be able to get here? El Mupo cannot connect with the damage, unfortunately, and that's going to be a double buff onto Yorick up top lane. If the first blood wasn't painful enough, Barrel in mid going down in XPK. Will he be egged? Flash away to safety.
Yeah, he needed the flash because otherwise he would have gone down to Gragas with that egg. But the big thing is Malphite, he knew that he wasn't going to get a gank off on Vladimir, but he had to expect that Nautilus was making his way up top. And Vladimir can farm very safely under tower, so normally Vladimir wouldn't pressure Yorick. He's just Malphite was just waiting around expecting the Nautilus gank. It worked out for them. Now, not only does he have that Mech pendant, not only does he have that first blood, he has the third blood as well, and that double buff, that constant spam ability on Vladimir, and Vladimir very quickly is going to be abused out of that lane.
Yeah, here's the thing too. You see sometimes a lot of Yorks will actually build stuff like Brutalizer for that extra cooldown reduction, but in this case, you got him with the blue buff, with the extra 20% CDR already. Not even 6 yet. That's going to be a lot of harassment on El Mupo. May actually be able to kill him outright, forcing down the pool. One smack with the Q, flash, ignite going down. There you go. Easy kill for Soaz.
Yeah, and with that red buff, along with that spam ability, he has plenty of damage. Hawkden coming up in this top lane, though. Cyanide can chase him down. Anivia not actually closing point. I thought that, XP would make his way down there, but even so, Gragas taking an awful beating. He's going to have to go back. Yeah. The lane is pushed against him. That's actually going to push back, so he could actually sit back in this lane for a little bit and wait for it to hit his tower. No, he's going to go back. So if XP moves quickly, he could actually deny a lot of golden experience underneath that tower to Gragas.
Yep, but you see, Hawkden, he's got enough gold. He picked up both of those Doran's rings. Wants to have the extra regen, the extra sustain there in the mid. You also have the ward too for safety because he's recognized like, okay, you got Malphite. He's a bit of an issue. He's a bit of a problem at the moment. You might want to see where he's going. Might even throw down at his own rates to go ahead for a little bit of safety. Broto right there with the hook. Does get into position. Does not get the hook he wants. There you go. There's the bust over the wall. XPK may be egged here with the ignite, which is a matter of can they finish up with the rest of the damage. Cyanide is there to try and keep Gamehoppers away, but the egg, Anivia, will be revived. She is back.
Yeah, and just using the flash just to get the egg, was so urgent, but actually Ezreal coming in trying to get some harass on them. Urgot and Sona, they have really nice single target burst if Sona hits her power cord and Urgot hits his Q and everything. But the armor that Soraka gives and the constant regen does take advantage in that lane. They will be fine there. So we'll see how that kind of progresses. Anivia, pretty low right now, so Gragas wants to just constantly push her into the tower, force her out of this mana, so that she's going to be denied a lot of farm underneath this tower without any mana. She's just going to really struggle, farming there. But we'll see how that's going to kind of progress. But this top lane is just absolutely brutal for El Mupo, and it has been for some time. As just the constant spam, chasing him down. Merc treads along with the tier at 6 minutes into the game.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's just, he has that spam ability, and then he's never going to die. He's just so tanky compared to Vlad.
Every kill on Fnatic right now, every single one has gone straight to Soaz, and he's taking that advantage all the way to the bank. But you also look at the other lanes, too. You see Lamia down bot lane bought the Chain Vest on first back to try and reduce some of the harass actually coming in from Ezreal, from rallies.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, it just goes to show they're not expecting to pick up any early kills in this lane. They want to sit back and allow the rest of the lanes to work. So that's going to be a defensive lane for them. But rather than, rushing the fast Dorans or the fast Brutalizer like you usually do with Urgot, it's perfectly fine with getting that chain vest. So like you said, we'll have that armor to protect against the Ezreal harass. They don't have to worry about the fact that Sona's heal isn't quite as strong as Soraka's. In the meantime, Soaz once again just chasing out Elmupo. Actually might get him pretty low here. He does have the Ignite if he decides to go for it, but he can just chase him out. And now all of a sudden, Vladimir has no options to farm in this lane.
Yeah, top lane is it's pretty much a done deal at this point. You know, Elmupo doesn't even have the revolver yet. Already decided to go with the lucky pick, realizing I'm not going to be getting a whole lot of farm. Best I can do is just stick it out, allow my GP10 investment to go ahead and start making me some money. Elmupo will be able to get out of here. The Vlad ult does go down. The end proc maybe more enough, so as does use the ghoul on himself. Elmupo will be able to get away. The Ignite goes down. There you go, connecting with the kill. Granted does go down, but here's an opportunity to try and get the kill down here onto Hawkden. XP can come up from mid. No wall, not going to be close enough. But there you go. Unfortunately, Yorick will die a second death before getting a second kill.
Yeah, but it's still an even a better exchange for him because he lost a spree. Did he actually have a spree? I'm not sure. I think he did.
It's 3-0. Just 3-0.
Yeah. So he did, and the big thing is that Vladimir's still not able to farm. He's 30 CS behind. Vladimir exchanged there, didn't get the kill, so Vladimir got an assist and then missed out on a lot of golden experience. Yes, it helps for Gragas, and Gragas is 2-0 right now, but Vladimir is completely shut out of this game, and as a result, because Fnatic has an incredibly tanky team, and Gamehoppers, they're going to be really behind on farm for their AP carries, it's just going to be too difficult for them to take them down in the mid-game fights. Fnatic's just going to be incredibly tanky and difficult to deal with. So we'll see how they kind of get around that. Gragas can stall pretty effectively, but in the meantime, Cyanide coming down in this bottom lane for a gank.
Oh, Flumus almost checked that bush, but Malphite emerging just barely out of the brush, realizes, hey, Soraka, you might want to back off here. You do have a Malphite in your midst. Looking for, still, Lamia hasn't decided to back just quite yet, but that Chain Vest will very soon be built into a Glacial Shroud. Get that extra cooldown reduction there. Look, at the very least, to spam some abilities. The pressure continues top lane. That top tier 1 is actually almost down, so as with a good chunk of the good huge wave, you can go ahead, swoop on in, and clean it with one fell stroke with the shovel. But, Fnatic, they are doing a pretty good job with the farm by their own tower. It's not as huge of a deficit I think most situations like this it normally would be. It's only about 10-15 creeps, but you do have Nautilus getting down into the bot lane. He is 6, does have the death charge. We'll see if he does anything with it.
Yeah, he's actually going to back off. Gragas, in the meantime, can get some harass onto XPK, actually. The egg is still up, but if he's able to catch him, then that could be huge. And then the body slam actually is really nice for avoiding that flash frost, so really nice job there. I think it's funny. One of the reasons that I honestly am not a big fan of Yorick is he's such a passive champion. You expect Yorick to just not lose the lane, but not really win it either. You just kind of sit around and, farm. And if this is going to be the way that Soaz plays Yorick and starts the game off 4-1, then that's going to be perfectly fine. I mean, he's in a position of power. He is actually, someone that can now carry this game for them, even as Yorick, which just sounds oxymoronic to me.
He's a steamroller, is what he is. If you get Yorick properly farmed, if you get him properly fed early on, he just becomes a steamroller, really. He has all the harass from a range that you could ever possibly need to take out pretty much nearly every single top laner. The slow is such a crippling ability on him. You also have the sustain on him as well. And if you get up close and personal, it's just a lot of damage. In the meantime, you do have Nautilus looking to try and come up here and make a difference here in the top lane. Vlad ult did actually go down onto the Yorick, but Nautilus with the hook not going to connect. And even then, he did make it, Vlad is way too weak to try connecting the damage. But Gragas is nearby, busting over the wall and the barrel. Soaz is trapped, but there you go, Malphite ult in response.
Yeah, and actually Hawkden has to get out of there. Vladimir walking up, that's a nice little boon for him, able to pick up that kill. Unfortunately, Broto is very close to going down. Yorick's going to be able to chase him out, trying to get the hook, but he will go down. And, again, it's an even exchange for them, but that time it actually works out to their benefit. Getting Elmupo, a little bit more farm, it can help him catch up in this game. That's definitely a good thing. And it was a 3v2 situation, though, so it's kind of unfortunate they couldn't pick up a little bit more. But Yorick had just constantly worn down Vladimir coming into that fight. He was just so low as a result. Gragas coming in, they're just a little bit too tanky for them to burst them down without that full help from Vladimir. He only kind of came in at the last second.
Yeah, and even then he's just brought so low previously. It's just kind of like, what can you really possibly do in this fight? So, but you have Soaz still very far ahead, getting the Null Magic Mantle and the Kindle Gem. Going to be getting the Soul Shroud a little bit too for the extra sustain, for the extra heal on his E. There you go, XPK being caught, trying to grab the race. He's out in that area, does manage to flash out of there. Still has the egg, but in a place like that, in that kind of environment, that kind of situation where you're so far away from tower, egg will almost certainly mean death. So he's like, go back to lane, chill out for a bit, continue the farm, and grab the blue buff even.
Yeah, and this might actually be a nice opportunity for them to go for Dragon after Anivia gets that blue buff, because top lane is pushed. Yorick, he could decide to continue pushing aggressively at that second tower, but 13 minutes in, they're ahead. It opens up an opportunity for him to come down to the Dragon. He's actually going to sit mid for a little bit and just push Hawkden into the tower, continue to farm. And so the big thing there is he's keeping his lead over Vladimir. He doesn't want Vladimir to be free farming, and if he's just running around not, doing anything. So, this mid experience and everything, it'll help keep him keep that lead, and we'll see where he goes from there. But in the meantime, Ezreal doing a nice job trying to push them into the spot tower. Malphite coming to pick that up. So very kind of defensive, play from both teams, just going back and forth on farming and pushing the lanes, trying to deny gold. So far, it's been working out for Fnatic. You look at all the lanes. Anivia is ahead in the mid lane. Yorick is clearly ahead in that top lane, and Urgot actually behind on Ezreal currently, but he's doing fine. He's incredibly tanky, and then actually going for that mana immune, which is perfect for harass and perfect for poke when you just want that spam ability.
Double mana immune actually right now in Fnatic. So that's a lot. It's a lot of damage coming in, and mana immune is actually a really amazing item on both of these champs. Like usually is the only item. It's usually the only two champs that ever really build mana immune these days. But still, it's pretty big. But it's unfortunate, though, right now that XPK DCs within turret range. Yeah. So it happens. It does. This is one of the sucky situations. But, because that DC... Oh, man, yeah.
No, this is just me. I wanted to go back.
Yeah, for a second I thought I was like, oh, we can rewind the game now?
You can rewind when you're paused, but the minion dying there. There's the unfortunate DC.
There's the DC.
XPK stuck right underneath that turret as they are forced into the pause.
Yeah, good guy El Muppo realizes, wait a minute, you're DC'd. This is a pretty bad spot, because if everyone gets any damage on the bird, when he does eventually die, that is going to give the kill credit. So hopefully Gamehoppers will do the right thing.
There's not really an option. He's going to die.
Yeah, he's going to die.
Gragas hit him with the barrel.
Did he?
So yeah, he did.
Oh.
Well, he cleared the minion. So Hawkden is naturally going to get a kill off of this, and there's not anything that they can do about it. One more auto attack is going to get him. He's has his egg up, but he's going to die with the egg underneath the turret. Unless, Soaz, he theoretically could walk up and try and draw aggro and pull it away from Anivia, but otherwise XPK is doomed. So he'll go down. Hopefully everything's okay with his internet, though. But it's a nice little boon for Gragas. He's 2-0-1 right now, soon to be 3-0-1. Unless El Mupo decides to come up and he's like, "Hey, I'm behind. I need some farm." But
or at the very
he had said that he was going to back off.
Okay, so I think we'll just go ahead and try and get a resume here. Doslot DDoSing XPK. That would be very, very strange. That'd be a very strange situation.
Yeah. But so far, Fnatic, they've played a really awesome game. They've put on a lot of pressure. Top lane, Cyanide making his way over for that first little gank there. Really just the counter gank against Nautilus, and it worked out perfectly. Vladimir got extremely low, trying to pressure bait in Soaz. So Vladimir dove right into Soaz, trying to bait him. Got low before that fight even happened. Then Malphite walked out, and they were like, oh, dang, this kind of sucks. We're pretty low. So both Cyanide and Soaz got low, but they were able to pull it around, able to get those kills. The double buff. Oh, XPK, did he get out? Wow. I thought the one shot was going to get him. I thought he was I thought the one shot had him. So he had two shots left in him, just barely surviving. That's fortunate. That's fortunate. That's very fortunate.
Yeah, very well done. Yeah, Dyson. It's a happy end.
Yeah, and they backed off of him. They let him get out of there. So,
good
awesome
guys.
Play. Good guys, game hoppers. Everyone give him a round of applause.
Yeah.
I was imagining actually Broto, if he had come up, he was walking up through the river. If they're like, XPK, we'll let you get out of here. And the second he gets out, Nautilus walks up in death charge or something.
That would have been a jerk move, though. That really would have been. But hey, in times like this, when you have those unfortunate DCs, and you do the sportsman-like thing, you let them go. Hey, DCs happen. They do.
Yeah, and actually Cyanide, with kind of a smart play there, dropping a ward over so he can clear this ward safely, knows that Hawkton isn't going to just pop him there. But actually, Hawkton going in after XPK. Malphite comes in, though. The Gragas ult missed. There's the depth charge as well. Vladimir will be able to chase him down. There is no egg, and the ultimate should take him down. So yes, he does go down. That is in favor of Gamehoppers, and they will be able to back off. But actually, another hook back in. Now Soaz is here, and Broto is very low. Soaz will be able to chase him down, pick up that kill. Soaz, the Destroyer, just completely unstoppable this game. With that red buff, he can chase down El Mupo as well. The pull is probably not going to be enough if he can chase. Nope. There it is. How many kills? 7 and 2 on Yorick, 15 minutes in. And actually a little bit of a fight going bottom lane. I'll take a look at that again as Ezreal and Soraka duel it out with Lamia.
Yep, Steamroller Yorick continuing the pressure to continue to push in the kills in mid. But Lamia just pretty much losing the exchange outright there with Ezreal. The Sona ult comes out just a little bit too late, unfortunately. And even then, the True Shot Barrage, I don't think there's enough time for Lamia to actually get out of there if the dead actually go indeed and fire. If you just end up going behind turret, flashing away, or other miscellaneous escape. Actually, no, his flash was down. Never mind.
Well, and that's one of the strengths of Ezreal, is having that chasing power throughout a long lane.
Mm-hmm.
Once Sona is out of there, not along with him, he could just easily jump right over those minions, chase him down.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a nice bonus. I think that's the big thing. Just Ezreal's control. Oh, the hook missing. XPK trying to get out of there. Hawkton, he is powered up, so he's trying to get in.
There in the bush though. Broto does get an unfortunate face check right there, meeting up with the ghouls. But with that kill, Fnatic does seem confident enough to actually go for this dragon.
Yeah. And it's really just, perfect for Gamehoppers that Ezreal at least has control over the bottom lane, because otherwise, if Urgot was ahead and they're already winning all these other lanes to such a significant degree, it would be a serious issue. But they are able to pick up that dragon. They are able to go back up to their lanes. And Soaz has a nice little bounty waiting for him up top once he makes his way up there. Vladimir will try and deny some of that by just killing this next wave, and so he's going to miss out on some. But he is still just way ahead in this game.
Yeah.
That cooldown reduction with the Kindle Gem, definitely a really nice choice for him. Actually going for the Spirit Visage, so he's going to be incredibly tanky and have that cooldown reduction.
Yep, and also when you see El Mupo actually trying to get some pressure down top lane, that's the first time that he's actually had time. Just go ahead and get some quality time with the enemy turret to put down some damage. He's like realizing, man, mine is already down. This is the first time I'm actually touching your turret. This is a little awkward, and just another friendly reminder. Reminding you, Vlad, how far behind he actually is in this game. It's a full 3 levels.
Oh, but Malphite is in the bottom lane. The Sona ultimate
Nice.
Followed up by Cyanide. Lamia, he hits the E onto rallies if they can chase him down. They are able to flash back underneath the turret, so they're able to get out of there. But the little sneaky Cyanide gank is able to get up in the bush. I'm surprised they didn't use the swap and weren't able to pick that up.
Yeah.
So with the Soraka heals, they just didn't have enough damage to take him down.
I think with the swap, it would have been more than enough to go ahead and actually chunk out the Soraka big time. Granted, he still had the wish and all that stuff, but I think the damage was there. They just didn't decide to get too aggressive. Didn't decide to go for it. They don't want to start throwing early here.
Yeah, I think they were just kind of surprised by how little damage they did. They were like, wow, that was a lot less than I expected. Gragas jumping in on XPK once again. He does have his egg up once again, so the Ignite is down for Gragas, but almost taking him out there. Yeah, and I mean, it should be kind of interesting to see how Urgot does coming into the mid-game fights, because who is he going to be targeting? If he can get a swap on Vlad, that could be kind of nice, but Vlad's just going to pull. Ezreal should be able to stay out of his range. Ezreal's attack range is very short, and that's one of the issues with Ezreal, is that you want to still get off that auto-attack damage like a standard AD, but with this short attack range, he might be kind of vulnerable to the Urgot, so, I mean, he is going to have to watch out through those mid-game fights, but we'll see. I'm curious actually also who Soaz is planning on ulting through these fights. I mean, regardless of who you ult, it's going to be a nice little tanky body and advantage. But there's not really any of them that you're like, oh, this is a key target. I need to ult them.
I do actually. No, I can think of one good target. Himself.
Yeah, right.
He's like, man, no one on my team does damage. look at all these kills. I look at all this data. 8 kills on our team. I'm 7-2-1. Might as well do it to myself. No one else is good enough. Death charge going down onto Lamia, along with the hook to follow. True shot barrage going down. The extra damage is going to be more than enough. Broto with the flash and the auto attack to finish that one.
Yeah, and they definitely have the damage advantage there, so no issues there with chasing him down. Cyanide actually chasing down El Mopo. He has the red buff, so he's actually going to have enough damage. If Vladimir can't get off this pull, he's trying to throw back as much damage as he can. Cyanide will get very low, though, if he can finish this off. The ult back, though, and a couple of auto attacks. He should be able to grab this, almost going down, but is able to pick up the kill.
Thunderous ground slams echoing all across Vladimir's body, digging him down to a big gelatinous mess on the ground following that one. So as continuing to push, he's been turned into gazpacho.
That's what Vladimir is, right?
Well, yeah, you put some ice on there. I mean, hey, that's that is the Malphite. You just throw some ice.
Malphite and the Anivia, so they're chilling him out.
Chilled. He's chilled. He's chilled soup.
Yeah, but in the meantime, they have kept this game pretty even, and one of the nice things with Gamehoppers is that they can stall very easily with Gragas. He can just constantly clear the waves, try and poke them down underneath the turrets. But with how tanky Fnatic is, with Soaz and everyone, they could probably just tank the turrets and push down a little bit. Oh, yeah. And they probably want to start pressuring their advantages. So Anivia is particularly strong underneath these turrets. Anivia could try and pick off someone with the wall. It's going to be tough. There's not really any target in particular that you would want to grab. But the Hawk, going down almost the Urgot swap. But there's the barrel getting them out of there. They are able to back off, but they are in a dangerous situation here. They will lose this tower.
I thought Gamehoppers were probably sure, it's like, oh, we got to get somebody on this barrel. They're all in one huge crowd. But no, unfortunately, it does push everybody away. And Fnatic can just go right on in and muscle out that first tier 1 in the first tier 1. Of course, there's only one tier 1 in mid. I wish there's 2 of them. You got all the muscle. You have all the ghouls coming in from Soaz. The pressure's too great. The tower does fall. Are they going to stay here and continue to pressure, though? Cyanide is coming around the side. Ultimate is almost up. He could go around from the back for an engage on this. Once it does come up, it will be up in about 1-2 seconds. There it goes. Soaz being hard engaged here under the tower. The Ignite go down on him as well. A lot of damage in the shutdown from a distance with the Ezreal ult does connect. So they're going to Gamehoppers. This is their opportunity to go ahead and try and get some damage, possibly get a kill, but they definitely can push on this.
Yeah, and the big thing is Fnatic, even with their advantages, they can't fight underneath the turret. You saw how quickly Yorick went down, despite the fact that he's so tanky. He doesn't have a lot of armor currently, but Malphite trapping Gragas underneath the turret. The wall off from Anivia as well. They have some nice burst damage. Vladimir is getting pretty low, but the Gragas, along with the depth charge, is able to pick up Urgot. Ezreal picking up another kill, and that kind of burst potential in single target burst is absolutely perfect for Gamehoppers, and the range on Gragas' ultimate and Nautilus' ultimate allows them to keep their distance, allows them to stay out of this AoE from Fnatic, and then Fnatic can't force the fights that they want. So catching up on them a little bit, definitely going to be a nice job. Hawkton grabbing that blue, but I don't know. We'll see how Fnatic can pressure it, and whether or not Yorick can use his ult a little bit better than just a standard Zillion ult.
And not to mention, he's like, hey, Yorick's not in the fight. He's a big prime target there. Wall coming onto Broto. A little bit of extra junk damage. Goes down to half, but it's just a little bit extra harassment. Make sure they're out of the fight so they can clear the way and keep everyone back while Fnatic is grabbing the dragon here for pretty much free.
Yeah, so that's going to be nice to keep up their gold lead. And they are incredibly tanky, but the issue is, that it seems that Gamehoppers has enough damage to still deal with it. Even without that Vladimir, they don't have to force a full AoE fight. They can just, pick people off, and then they are safe enough generally. So, if Fnatic can force a full head-on fight, they should be okay. If they're out, as long as they're outside of the towers, as long as they're kind of split up, because that's one of the issues with Gragas. Yep. You split up. He misses. He has long cooldowns. I mean, they're short cooldowns, but they're long in a fight, and his damage is so dependent on those barrels. So he's, he could miss out on a lot of that damage. Then they don't have quite enough AoE to take down these tanky teams. But because they can stall out underneath the turrets, it means that Fnatic doesn't have a good means of pressuring their advantage right now.
Yep. But you do also have quite a bit of damage coming from Greg. So you do have some stuff like the Abyssal Scepter, great tools like the barrel. But in kind, though, you see Fnatic starting to stack that magic resist. Negatron cloaks, 2 of them I see. You got the Null Magic Mantle, Soul Shroud, a lot of Magic D actually being built. So they're there to looking to see if they can resist that pressure coming on in later. El Muppo retreating through the forest, trying to get away from the harass from Lamia and Fnatic. They could actually perch over here and see if they can't bait out a fight, something around the Baron area.
Yeah, the issue is that they don't really have a strong Baron team.
No.
They're very tanky, but they're very low on damage. They could try and just go for it to pressure it. They will be able to keep their health up decently. They actually probably need Yorick to get some armor before they try and pressure the Baron. That'll definitely be key, but it's just difficult. And Gamehoppers recognizes that they don't have the best Baron team. They're pinging it right now. They know they need to check it just because if you leave any team unhindered, unimpeded for a long enough time, then yeah, they're going to take the Baron. But it's not really that big of a concern. XPK walling himself in there. He's going to be able to grab that blue. But
get away from me, blue buff. I don't want you. No, I do.
Yeah. I'm curious how Fnatic can will try and pressure their advantage right now. I mean, they want to take this bot tower. That would be nice. But the concern is if they go for that, whether or not Gamehoppers tries to pressure this. Anivia, should be able to take it by himself. So XPK could do this. He could always wall off if they get the vision. But actually, Gragas up top, along with Vladimir, fighting with Soaz.
Oh, no.
We'll see if Soaz can turn this around. He's actually very close to picking up the kill into Vladimir, but just barely enough damage. One more Bale will be able to take him down. Yorick actually almost able to get out of there. Now Rallies is chasing him as well. Urgot is here trying to help him out. He will be able to get that swap and be able to dissuade him. So Rallies getting close to going down. The swap from Urgot, the ultimate will miss. He doesn't know where Yorick is, but there's the kill. Whoa, any second now. Rallies almost picking this up. The quick dash, he's actually able to turn that around. I'm astounded.
Yikes. But here's the thing, though. You do have Fnatic coming from the back end. So as back in the fight, there's the quick shutdown. And El Muppo realizing, man, I forgot to clean you up. Can something happen here? So as just aching out, getting just barely out of range of the E, but does manage to get that kill as well. Nice play from Soaz, staying from just outside of combat.
Yeah, and I am still just blown away that they were able to pick that up. Gragas was actually chased down by Cyanide, but I'll take a look at that Urgot just one more time, because I was watching and I was just like, how is he losing this fight?
Yeah.
He had him so low, he had so much armor and everything.
Fully stacked Bloodthirster on Ezreal. That's the story on that. All the regen needed, all the lifesteal needed to stick around in that fight.
The big thing was Ezreal was behind the cannon minion, so dodging off to the side in order to get around, in order to get the damage that he needed to. So he, had the quick arcane shift around the cannon minion, so he could get that one last Q onto Urgot to pick up that kill. So we'll see where they kind of go with this. XPK sitting in the mid lane, and yeah, just really awesome play from them all around.
Yep, and also a good 7K gold lead as well. So yeah, they're in a good spot. They're in a really good spot. Actually, no, 8K. It's 7, yeah, between 7, between 8. That's around where it is. But they still have all this massive pressure coming out of mid. Ezreal may get called here along with the Nautilus. Does have to shift on over through the wall. Nautilus is there to try and help. Gragas Barrel only getting the Urgot, but Soaz is right in the middle of all this. And a swap. There you go, along with the Sona ult. And there you go, Gragas will melt pretty quickly. Lamia, can you actually get out of this fight? You do have the shield to stay alive. El Muppo will be the next one to fall. And that is most of the damage from Gamehoppers gone.
Yeah, and there was so much effort put into getting Lamia. They just barely weren't able to pick him up. He was just slightly too tanky. They would throw off a little bit of a burst, throw off a nuke or something. He would back off. He would shield. He would be fine. So they are able to pressure this Baron now. Ezreal, Soraka, and Nautilus are up, but it would be really hard pressed for them to force this. And Nivea actually holding off to try and keep them away. May go down himself. XPK forces that flash out there. The dodge on that hook. So they will be able to grab this Baron any second out. There it goes. They get the Baron, and they can continue this lead. We'll see if XPK can chase him down. He's still putting on some pressure on Broto.
Broto, he's battling it out with the bird and realizes, oh, you have Baron buff now. Crap, that sucks. I got to get out of here. Hook not going to be getting there on the defense, but blue buff will also be stolen here for Fnatic. XPK will go ahead and pick that up. Lamia just tank it for a quick second while the bird comes on back. Ult going down. There you go. So now you've got Fnatic with a huge gold lead, 10K, plus Baron buff, looking to push. Things are not looking all too great for Gamehoppers because they realize, hey, those huge team fights, our main damage dealers can be focused down and taken out of a fight rather quickly. You got to fight at the tower. You have to.
Yeah, and the big thing for Fnatic was that last fight, they were able to fight outside of the turrets. They were able to fight out in the open where they can chase them down. So there's one of the big advantages on Yorick. With his slow, he can kite very easily, which is why you often see Yorick with Sona. But it was just astounding that they couldn't chase him down. And that's, Vladimir, he doesn't have, a strong chasing ability. So Yorick can always get out of that. So just popping in and out of those fights was definitely huge. But now with the Baron, they don't have to worry about stalling underneath these turrets as much. They have plenty of regen from that Baron regen. It is still going to be an issue. Gragas can still stall them. They have a short-range team, so they're not going to be able to poke down the turret as effectively as they would like to. They can't poke Gamehoppers because Gamehoppers has Soraka, so they're going to be fine there. So we'll see how Fnatic can continue to pressure this. They probably need to just push back and forth between multiple lanes.
Yeah.
That bot turret is looking awfully tasty, though, after that Dragon.
Yeah, you go ahead and have Urgot just go ahead, push down the bot. Yorick could, he is capable of split pushing. He does have a nice little speed buff on the Q once that hits, and he's resilient enough to go ahead and, at this point in the game, to try, take on one or two members of Gamehoppers if they decide to get a little bit anxious here. But it's just a matter of, wow, coming in, Cyanide actually burning the ult, not getting anything off of that one.
Yeah, the wall and the ultimate trying to grab Gragas there, just barely getting out of the way.
Yep, just gotta wait. It's just a matter of waiting for the creep waves to come on up and push to get that extra chunk down onto a turret. Mid-tier 2 is pretty full at this point, but now it's just a matter of trying to get the other lanes to push up what they can. But unfortunately, top and mid are pretty much neutral at this point. So if this push is going to succeed, they gotta get something for it. They gotta get some damage down. Nice wall, keeping Gamehoppers away, and there you go. Towers down at half, and this is plenty of time to go ahead and take it down. Those walls are a massive, massive tool right now for allowing them to push.
Well, that's the big thing is they don't have to worry about Gragas forcing them out as much. Actually, a nice little flash rush there. They can constantly, force them back with the Anivia pressure, since Anivia is one of the best in the game at pressuring, both defensively and offensively in these tight lanes. So we'll see if they can go. Now, fortunately, they're past that ward. So that ward up there for Gamehoppers, it almost could have allowed them to pick off XPK if he made a wrong move, but they can come in and pressure this turret once again.
There you go. Wall only up on the north side. So as going in first bravely, the barrel keeping him back. But things will he be able to get out alive? The ignite is down on him. He is ghouled. Look for a little bit extra harass as the ghoul is entering the enemy base on his own. It was a good valiant effort, but here's the thing with the Anivia wall. When you're in a lane situation, like in the mid-tier 2, Soaz could get the wall, I think, actually keeping everyone continuing in pursuit. Ezreal not going to get the shift over the wall quite yet. Soaz is a little bit trapped right now, but right now Fnatic is going to go ahead and take whatever advantage they can to go it and push the mid. Soaz, will the ignite actually kill him? No, it will not, but Lamio here is in a 2v1 situation there. Hawkdun was a little bit too far in the back, but now the rest of Fnatic comes out and Sona ult, keeping them stunned. Death charge going down onto Sona and to Anivia, but Cyanide will manage to get the kill down onto Ezreal. Swap is canceled. Hawkdun and Broto trying to get the damage down. Gragas ult doing what he can, but unfortunately will be for nothing. And right now Fnatic cleans up 4-4 free.
And Soaz, this is some of the best Yorick play I've ever seen. I mean, ignore the fact that he's 11-3. In these team fights, he keeps getting so low and then just kiting in and out of those fights, coming back in at the end. And they knew because they pressured Ezreal, he has so much magic resist. So he went a very heavy MR build. It's very tough for these AP champions to take him down. And then he's able to they're able to pressure Ezreal. So that last fight, being able to take down Ezreal because he was so far out of position, he used his arcane shift trying to chase down Soaz, and then all of a sudden he was just too out of position. They were able to swamp him. So really nice play from Fnatic, and just slightly too tanky for Gamehoppers to deal with. 5-0-8 on Malphite. He was pretty deep into his build. 11-3 on Soaz though, 251 CS. He was definitely fine in that game.
I think fine's a good word. I still like to reference the steamroller effect there on Yorick, because once he gets rolling, he just does not stop. He just really doesn't. Anyone who tries to engage on him, and even if you do manage to kill him, you still have the ghoul, and he is the fact when Yorick, you usually with the ultimate you want to actually cast it a lot on your AD carry. Yeah. But when you're that far ahead, when you're that far fed, might as well use it on yourself.
That's why it was so weird, because they didn't have anyone for him to ult, which is it's unusual to have a Yorick team and not have any target that you would really care to ult. But they were just too tanky, and they were able to get nice early advantages. They were able to pressure the lanes. So really nice play from Fnatic. We'll see what happens coming into game number 2. I don't expect we'll see a Yorick ban. It's not like Yorick usually goes off on people like that. Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, a couple of them could be banned. Malphite, Anivia,
for sure.
They were able to dodge Malphite for the most part. They had a nice comp to deal with Malphite, but his initiation was definitely really nice.
Yep, and Anivia is possible as well, but we'll see what the game plan is for Game Hoppers going on into game number 2. And with that, we will be back in just a moment. Going to go to a quick commercial break. Fnatic Game Hoppers game number 2 for the IPL Elites. We'll be right back.